Hey, what's up everybody? Thank you for checking this video. If you want to see more, please leave a like and subscribe. But even if you don't, enjoy and happy coding.
Welcome to episode 31 of the Nerd Continuity Podcast with me, Chris Perko, and Alex Alicad over here.
Hello.
How are you doing, Alex?
Pretty good. Pretty excited to finally do another episode. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Awesome.
I'm finally settled down here in Atlanta and done with all the moving shenanigans. So
did you unpack all the boxes?
Everything that's not in our storage unit.
The almighty storage unit, that helps a lot, right?
Yeah.
You're still like going around your apartment sometimes like, where did I leave that thing? Or like, where was that mug? Or still in the box.
Yep, it's still in a box somewhere.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's the worst of moving. How are did your dogs and cat settle down?
Oh yeah, they're doing pretty good. We took the dogs out today to a dog park, and there were no other dogs there, so they were kind of bored. But they're doing great.
Ah, nice. That's good. Always like relocation is always tough on animals because they don't understand. You cannot explain them. Hey, it's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they didn't know we were moving. We just were like, all right, get in the car. We're driving across the country.
Yeah, that's terrible. Okay, so the main topic of this episode is dealing with burnout, which pretty much everyone has experienced. Or if you you're the special human being, a special cookie that never experienced a burnout before, don't worry, it will happen to you. It's like you cannot escape that. So it's better be prepared and how to fight that or embrace it, because someone also likes to embrace a burnout and depends on your lifestyle. But this is the main topic of the episode. We're going to also try to talk a little bit, because it's really related to the burnout, how to keep staying productive and not just slack out. It's all like kind of related. The more productive you are, the more lean to burnouts are you. Like it's could happen more often the more you work. So it's kind of like a weird balance to have. And if we have time, we will talk about also about the imposter syndrome, which unfortunately is also related to a burnout. It's kind of like the first thing that you have in a burnout. The first thing that happens, start doubting about yourself, which is it's our life. Never too sure. But before starting, let's do a quick round of update, because we haven't done an episode in probably 3 or 4 weeks. So what have you been up to during this time?
I've been really busy. I haven't had time for my personal side projects. I've been kind of keeping some ideas written down and some things I want to blog about. Just different things that I do want to get into. Just haven't had time. I've been super busy with work. I picked up a side, like a client that I'm working with. I'm working with a client basically through someone I work with at work, but as like a second job on the side to kind of recover our savings that were completely depleted from the move.
Yes.
So so I'm kind of working a second job, just trying to make sure we have our savings and we're in order. So because you never know when things are going to happen, and you might need however much money to deal with medical bills or the dogs or whatever. So working through that, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to work on my personal side projects. I'm going to try to write some blogs about some of the stuff I'm doing on the side, because it's completely new to me. It has to do with message queuing and Internet of Things that I've never messed with. Small devices and everything. So yeah, it's completely new, and I feel kind of lost at times, but it's starting to make sense and everything. So.
Nice. Are you gonna just trying to, I don't know, get a Raspberry Pi or something like that and try to build something cool, or what's your process? What you're planning to do? If you can give us a little sneak peek.
Right. I don't know what I'm gonna do with small devices. I'm kind of working with a client that already has a bunch of devices that are already communicating with each other. So we're trying to cut down on costs. We're moving away from I think they're using Azure right now. We're moving to a service called PubNub. And it's a pretty cool system where they really work with IoT things They replicate across, I think, 15 sites across the globe. So if you're working with devices in, you have one device in the US and one in Europe or Asia or wherever, they've got these nodes across the world that can keep the latency very short.
Nice.
So it's a pretty cool service. It's a lot cheaper than what they're currently using with Azure.
Yeah.
And I can't talk a whole lot about it because of some documents I've signed, but yeah, I can try to talk about some technology and some blog posts coming up.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. I saw that on your YouTube channel you started these super cool introduction to game development. What it is about? Like, I didn't know you knew game development with like Canvas and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was I did a little bit of game development several years ago on Android, doing libgdx mostly. I did a little bit with strict Android and found that was kind of difficult to work with. So working with a library outside of it was a lot easier. And I've played with Canvas in the past doing like different animations and things. And so I was like, this is something I really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And it would be easy for me to make videos about it because I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to focus on building this series of building like a little brick breaker game using just the canvas. So it's been a lot of fun. I've got a couple episodes that I'm working on right now. I need to edit and probably get out later this week. I wish I had more time to work on it because I really do like it, but there's only so much time in the day.
Yeah, I know. I really like the format you're releasing your videos, like a really short and they tackle just one topic, which is kind of the best when you're starting coding new things, because you don't really, you can follow a really long video, like 20-30 minutes video, but then you probably will forget that specific thing that if you want to go back and rewatch it, and you don't want to see through another 20 minutes just to find that specific thing. So the fact that you release these super short videos which they tackle just one topic, it's super helpful for beginners.
Yeah, I was kind of inspired by, I believe it was Scotch.io, or not Scotch.io, I'm sorry. Oh man, I completely blanked right now.
Who's that? Scott Tolinsky? No.
No, I'm trying to think. There was a guy that was doing, it was Egghead.io.
Egghead, yes.
Yeah, he, a long time ago, back when Angular was pretty new, Angular 1, Angular.js, he released a whole lot of videos on YouTube, and they were all very, very short, to the point episodes on, what is a controller? What is the scope variable? And nice. It made it really easy to learn. So I figured for this series, I'm going to focus on really short episodes on little bits and focus on just the fundamentals. And the next series, I want to do game using libgdx and do longer episodes because we've already covered all the basics of, how does collision detection work, all these basic things, and put them together into longer episodes where we can really start building a game much faster.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm excited to continue to do that. I'm hoping I have more time in the future to work on it faster because I feel like I'm releasing them so slow sometimes.
Yeah, well, it's okay. It's like priorities in life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, damn it. And you just passed 100 subscribers on your YouTube channel, right?
Finally, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's hard, man. Like YouTube is changing the algorithm pretty much every day. And now it's getting even harder for the people that are already subscribed to your channel to get notifications of new videos that you're publishing, which is kind of insane. They're changing, everything is not chronological anymore, which is, I understand that the technical reasons that chronological timeline, especially with millions and millions of videos, is like really hard on server and computation. But still, if a user subscribes to your channel, it means that it's interested. So, well, it's tough.
Yeah, so that was very exciting. I want to do a better giveaway when we get to maybe 500.
Nice.
Might do like DigitalOcean credits. I might talk with them to see if I can buy credits and then give them away to somebody.
Oh, lovely.
But yeah, I'm excited. I was super happy to hit 100. I was traveling at the time, and I landed, and I was like, oh, I've hit 100. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, it's just the beginning. Then you're gonna hit 1,000, and then you're gonna grow from there. Yeah.
I'm gonna have my platinum play button, right?
Oh yes, yeah. I would love to have that too.
What is that at 5 million? I think.
The platinum, I don't remember. Probably is like, because the silver is 100,000, the gold is 1 million. platinum is that 10 million or something, or is
It's something
diamond
crazy.
10
The
million?
diamond.
I don't know, whatever. Is there
Insane.
real diamond, like real platinum?
It should be at that point, right?
Could you sell it? Like, melt it and sell it, or just like in the dark market? I don't know, whatever, stupid things.
So what have you been up to?
Oh man, so many things. Being super busy at work as well. We're building the new version of Ritual Music built in Laravel and Vue.js. The thing is that when you're rebuilding something with new technologies, pretty much once every 2 weeks, you have to update and upgrade and follow all these new releases of whatever software you're using or whatever coding language you're using. Because we did the mistake before I started at the company, they did the mistake of starting with Laravel like 5.1, and they didn't follow the weekly releases or the upgrades and stuff like that. So for like 2 years, they remain in Laravel 5.1, and after 2 years, upgrading was so complicated from 5.1 to 5.5 or 5.6.
Yeah, once you get behind, it's hard to catch up.
Yeah, it's kind of impossible. So one of my main objective is pretty much once every 3 weeks to have a couple of days dedicated to upgrade all the packages, all the dependencies, and just make it work, because it's easier. You can solve this problem in just like 4 hours, upgrading from 5.6 to 5.6.1. It's easier than jumping a major release or stuff like that. Even if it chips away a little bit of time, you can still keep your application always fresh and always updated with bug fixes and security patches, instead of just then spending 2 months in trying to figure out everything that changed in the past 2 years, which is insane. But that is taking a lot of time. Probably at the end of the next month, around the end of June, we're going to have our full launch. We're going to have a soft launch, I guess, in the second week of June. I'm really excited because it's a massive improvement from what we have right now. And Vue.js, it's amazing. Like learning Vue.js was really easy, and I was impressed. I have a little bit of background in Angular, so it was really similar to Angular, but it's kind of magic. Sometimes I think, can Vue.js do this? And I tried, oh yes, it can, and I totally understand what I want to do without writing massive lines of code, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I really wish Vue was more popular because it's so easy to use and so powerful. I feel like a lot of people jumped on the React bandwagon and are just kind of like, oh, well, React's popular, so we should use it.
Yeah.
But I find that Vue is like a much easier version of React. I don't know, I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Have you taken a look at Laravel Shift before?
Laravel Shift? No. What is
that?
Yeah,
it's a paid service that you can use to upgrade your app to a different version of Laravel.
Oh, yeah.
It's like it uses bots to go through your code and upgrade things. So going from a lower level all the way up to 5.6, it might be worth, it's not a whole lot of money. I think it's like, I think they say on the website it's between $3 to $25.
Oh yeah, it's really cheap. Yeah.
So, and I think it'll tell you things that it can't do. It'll be like, hey, look at this piece of code because you can't use it. I haven't personally used it. I know somebody who has, and they said it was amazing.
Yeah.
It's totally worth the money.
Yeah, definitely. I think I saw something similar, or like was checking some automation type to do the upgrade, but then I decided to not do it and do everything manually because of the way the previous developer built the original application. There were some like architectural flaws inside it. It was like, I don't want to just carry around this base architecture to the new version. It's better to just restart from scratch. We learn a lot from user data and analysis and stuff like that. So we were able to like fully rebuild, and it was like a meaningful rebuild. It wasn't just a rebuild because we had to upgrade the version. It was like we actually needed to rebuild things. But yeah, it's an amazing server. It's like service. It's really helpful if you just need to upgrade. You don't want to spend time and dealing with bugs and stuff. And it's actually really cheap. That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, it is good. It is cheap. But yeah, like what you're saying, getting rid of that technical debt, You know, you don't want to carry that around forever
Oh
because
my God.
making changes in the future is going to be difficult. You're going to have bugs and
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And other than that, I've been to Seattle last weekend, and the main mission of going to Seattle was to buy my fiance's wedding dress because I'm getting married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm an adult now, so I need to get married. We're gonna get married in September here in Vancouver, and she couldn't find a wedding dress here. It was kind of like hard. Like Vancouver, even if it feels like a big city, it's actually really, really small. So we have not all the stores, all the availability. Even if we have the same stores as the US, sometimes they don't have the same articles. They don't have the same dresses, and they cannot ship it here because it's not cost effective for them. So we took.
She have to deal with the taxes of exporting it from the country. Oh my God!
Yes, taxes are killing us here. So Sabrina found the dress online at this store in Seattle, and we took a chance to have like a mini small vacation and buying the dress. And it was really fun because we arrived at the store and she had this dress in mind, which she booked for a test. She wore that and she looked terrible in it. It was really her words, not mine. Like she said, I look terrible. I'm like, no, you're fine. But yeah, no, it was like so flashy and full of diamonds. It was like, oh my God, what is this? Yeah, it looked totally different in picture. So it was funny because I was the only man in this wedding changing dressing room where like all these group of girls were trying dresses and suggest I was the only guy there, and I was.
Did they give you some wine while you waited?
No, they didn't. That was the chance. That was the opportunity. I was sitting on a really fancy chair in front of a gigantic mirror, and everyone was looking at me like probably he's the gay friend of the of the bride. It's like, no, I'm the future husband. Oh my God, are you gonna see the dress? Yes, I have to decide as well. And I started giving actually really good suggestions to the store lady that she was helping us, and I started talking to her, and I was like, no, because Sabrina, my fiance, has this particular body type that she has to show her shoulders. She cannot cover up with something on top and all this stuff like that. So everyone was really impressed by my knowledge of wedding dresses.
Yeah, I know nothing about them, so I'm impressed.
Yeah, it was fun actually, and it took us just a couple of hours, which was great. I was expecting to spend more time in it instead. Nope. So that's done. Other thing that I've been doing, like, let's go super quickly because we need to start the episode, but I've been testing a lot Elementary OS Juno, the 5.0 version, and because they changed, GTK changed a lot the style sheet, so pretty much the apps that I'm building, Sequeler and also Akira, they look awful now with the new version of GTK, so everything is broken, and I'm testing this daily build to try to patch it up before the release of Juno. But it's beautiful. It's looking fantastic, and can't wait for the guys to release the first beta. It's amazing. And that's it. Then usual, I'm trying to record YouTube videos, but it's been like 3 weeks that I haven't published anything. Just life in general. It's pretty.
I understand. It's tough.
It's super tough. So let's jump straight into the episode of dealing with burnout. So first, what is a burnout? Do you wanna tell them what it is?
Sure. Yeah.
You're the expert here, for probably, or not.
Well, I've had it many times, and I'm sure you have too.
Oh yes.
I think it's probably different for everybody. A lot of times for me, it's happened from just overworking, and not just overworking, but overworking is something that you don't enjoy, or overworking with a lot of stress behind it. You have to get this thing done next Friday. It's going to take me 3 weeks. No, it has to be done by Friday. And just dealing with that. And I think part of it also is we, as developers, a lot of times we get in development because we really like what we do. So we do our day job, and then we want to do more outside of it. So we've got side projects, and we've got, like you and I do YouTube videos. So all of that kind of builds up. And you get to a point where you're almost depressed doing it. Like you don't want to do it anymore. And so you go to work and you're just like, all right, I got to program for the next 8 hours. I got to build this thing that I don't care about anymore. And after work, you're just like, I don't want to work on my side projects. I don't want to read any articles. I don't want to do anything. You know? So for me, it's almost like a depression. Like I don't want to do anything anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm done. I'm gonna quit my job. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's really similar to me as well. Mine is not fully related on the amount of work that I have to do. I actually enjoy that. Like the more busy I get, the more motivated I get. The thing that I start noticing when I start to get into the burnout is that I start counting the hours until the end of a project. That's the first hint of something is coming up. I'm feeling like a burnout. If I don't, like when I'm totally into it and I'm totally fine and I'm enjoying it, I don't even look at the clock. I just like follow the task. I just start working and enjoy the process. But if I start looking at the clock once every 5 minutes and I start thinking, passively thinking, okay, this task is going to take me 1 hour, it's too much. I hope it's gonna be over soon. Or still like 11 a.m. Oh my god, still 6 hours to go. And if I start thinking about this thing and I just have that attitude, it means that something is changing inside me and I'm going towards the burnout. That's my first hint. How do you usually, like, the first thing that happens in a burnout is that you don't realize you are in a burnout. You don't realize you're currently there. Like suddenly, all of a sudden, as you said, you feel tired, you feel depressed, you don't want to do anything, you don't have energy, not even to do your own things. And sometimes you don't even want to talk with anybody. Like you want to stay close in a dark room and that's it. Do you ever notice that, like, if something before that moment happens, like do you find yourself immediately in the burnout and it's like, oh shit, I'm a burnout, I feel burnout, or you realize when it's happening and when it's starting to get into that state?
I would say that now that I'm older and I've been doing this for a long time, that I can kind of detect that I'm starting to get burned out. Mostly for me, it's kind of boredom with a project. I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again, or I'm not interested in it anymore. That's kind of an early sign for me. But it seems to me that it can spiral really quickly out of control to the point where I go from like, I'm a little bored to like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done, so yeah, it's a tough thing to deal with.
Yeah, definitely. And the first reaction that pretty much everyone has is just to shut down completely, because it's kind of like your brain demands a pause, demands a stop. And most of the times, because as developers or even designers in general, like creative people, we don't like to not do anything. We always need to do something. So our brain tries to find alternative ways to fill up that time that we don't want to spend and dedicate on the task that makes us bored, or like makes us like that forced us into this burnout state. And from my point of view is that I get hooked on Netflix. That's my drug. Like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs or try to fill up the time with, I don't know, gambling or other things. Like I try to find something that kind of like makes me feel I'm doing something. I'm watching a series that I always wanted to watch, but I'm watching 12 episodes per day every day. That's not good.
Yeah, right.
What about you? Do you have like what are your escapistic behaviors? If that's a word. Is that a word, escapistics? Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Escapist behaviors.
I've spoke English all my life, and I don't know the language very well, to be honest. So
That's
I'm
great.
a terrible person to ask. So for me, it's just kind of vegging out, taking a day to veg out, or something I like to do that I wish I could do more often, but it's expensive, is to just take a day and go to a day spa, get a massage. A lot of times they tell you can't bring your cell phone in here, which is exactly what I need. I don't have the opportunity to even look at my phone. So to get me in a place where there's like nothing to do
Mm-hmm.
is actually really calming and kind of cleansing for me. Because I can take the time to actually just think as
Interesting.
opposed to, for stuff. I'm gonna start reading things. I'm gonna start watching a video on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's hard while I'm there,
Yeah.
but when I leave, I feel very relaxed and cleansed. Another thing I used to do, and I haven't done in a long time, was I used to go backpacking in the Smoky Mountains when I
Ooh.
lived in North Carolina. So me and some buddies, we would go and we would, pack our bags and we'd be like, all right, we've got enough food, we've got enough water, we've got the ability to get water and clean it and drink it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd go out there for like 2 or 3 days, no self-service,
Mm.
nothing. We just go out in the woods, camp out, and to me I would feel so much better and I would be so much more motivated when I got back. So
Yes.
I think to me it's just I need to turn off.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that's one of like the most common advice whenever you feel a burnout, is just to turn off. But the problem is that we don't really know how to turn off. Like, your suggestions are great, and these are like kind of like the first thing that someone you should do. Just disconnect. Don't bring your phone. Just go for a hike, stay outside. Just think. Most of the time there's this misconception that you're feeling burnout because you're thinking too much. No, that's completely the opposite. You're feeling burnout because you're doing too much. You should just unplug, start like thinking about why you're feeling burnout, and then doing something else completely disconnected from your environment, what you're doing, or what makes you feel burnout. Instead, in this day and age, whenever I notice a lot with like my girlfriend or my fiance, I should say, that when she feels burnout, she spends a lot of time on Facebook because she feels like, okay, I'm gonna unwind and just gonna watch silly pictures. But also that you're still connected to the world, you're still connected and still getting dumped all these information, all these data in your brain, and you're not allowing your brain to unwind and relax properly because you're still like super immersed in this world, which is not good. And like going out, not bringing your phone is one of the first things that you should do. You should really disconnect and not just like sit on the couch and watch Netflix like I do, pretending, no, I'm dealing with my burnout. No, I'm just like delaying and postponing my dealing with the burnout, which is not healthy at all.
Yeah, and for me, on all my social media, like Facebook, for instance, I follow groups that are related to development. So even if I open up Facebook, it's not just cat pictures. It can be posts of like, hey, I've got this problem. What do you guys suggest? I've got this hosting issue, and so I'm immediately right back into the whole web development world. And so it's like I can't escape it.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So the first thing that I'm starting to do, and I'm actually like trying to change my life in that way, because I used to pretty much all my life since I started coding, I used to just jump right into a project, full blast, working 14 hours per day until I cracked and then just like collapsed on the spot, and then stay a week super sloppy without doing anything, and then jumping right back to it when I feel my energy are back. And it's not a healthy behavior. And the thing that I noticed and I found out reading online is that pretty much everyone in the world experiences burnout. It's impossible, especially during a creative doing a creative job. Like it's impossible that you will not ever experience a burnout. Sometimes people experience more aggressively than others. Sometimes people just go through their life without understanding that they're living a burnout because it's really mild, so it's kind of manageable, but everyone has it. And the interesting thing that I found is that if you experience a burnout early in your life, it's easier to deal with that. Instead, if you start experiencing burnout when you're like 35 or 40 and you never had one of those before, that's harder to deal with that and manage it, which is it's kind of interesting. It's better to be sick earlier earlier than later, like your body. Yeah, I know what it is. It's okay. I've dealt with this my entire life. I I don't know, you have like a recollection, or you remember when was the first time that you felt like this?
I don't know, probably pretty early because my first job I had was working at a startup.
Hmm.
I was right out of college. I joined a startup that when I started there, it was like, oh, awesome, we have tons of money in our runway. We're doing awesome. Everything's great. Let's hire all these people, and we have this cool work area. We've got ping pong tables and a Wii to play Mario Kart.
Yeah.
It was your typical startup life.
Yeah.
And it quickly became, hey, we don't have any money, and whoever does the worst job gets let go every month. So
Great. That's such a relaxing environment, right?
oh, yeah, totally. So nobody touched the Wii for a long time.
Hmm.
Yeah, I felt it pretty early on from just the demand of my day job. It wasn't just a day job. It was work. It was late nights. It was holiday weekends. It was doing what you could to not be the guy that's getting let go this month.
Yeah.
Eventually, that guy was me, but it was inevitable. So, I experienced it pretty early on, and I've experienced it probably in every job I've had. Not just from the work, but from things I'm trying to do on the side, trying to learn things. I mean, technology these days, we've talked about in previous episodes, is just increasingly fast. I mean, you can't keep up with it.
Nah, yeah.
So, trying to keep up with that and keep up with your job, and it's too much.
Trying to have a life.
Yeah.
Trying to have friendships.
You gotta have time for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's
yeah, you have to
I've always had a lot of
prioritize.
fun.
Yeah, you have to learn how to prioritize, and like, is this really important? Should I like dedicate and spend all my energy during the day to just this thing, or should I just balance and not always trying to be the first one or like trying to be perfect? It's just like chill and enjoy the process. It's totally fine. That's something that no one teaches you in school, and no one teaches you that.
No.
Yeah, and so with years and years of burning out myself and just like destroying, losing all my hair and just getting fat and then getting back in shape and then getting fat again and all these kind of things. I learned a lot of like personal techniques, and I don't know if these personal techniques can apply to everyone because everyone is different. Everyone reacts to different things. So advices that you find online, or advices that these, like, I don't know, billionaire found, or like they suggest, oh, you should do this to be more productive, you should do this to be happy, like probably they don't work for you because you're a unique person with unique feelings and you have to find your thing. But the thing that we could do, we could just share whatever we found that works for us, and see if other people can benefit by changing that thing. So my first thing, the thing that I always do when I feel like I'm breaking down and just having like a nervous breakdown, I feel depressed and stuff like that, I go analog. Like I try to remove all the digital things that I have around me. So I write on a small diary or a notebook how I feel. I start writing down all the things that I feel. And there's a good exercise that I always fail to follow through, but whenever I succeed to follow through, it's amazing. Every morning when you wake up, the first thing that you do before checking your phones for notifications or even having breakfast, you write down how you feel that morning. And most of the times it's super helpful for me when I feel super tired. When I feel tired, I sit down in front of my notebook and start writing, I feel tired because, and I try to understand the reasons why I'm tired. And all the time I'm tired not because I didn't sleep enough. Or like I slept like 8 hours, 9 hours, I still feel hammered. I feel super tired, like I've been binge drinking for 2 weeks. I don't know, like I feel terrible. And when I start like thinking why I'm tired, automatically my brain gives me the answer without me actively thinking. And the fact that I'm writing it down helps me to sit in the moment and kind of like unwind, relax, and forget about all the things that I have around me that give me stress, because I'm in that moment focusing on myself and writing it down, not on a digital device, which is the importance of touching, having like a texture feeling, or touching and using your hands to do something probably it's particular for us because we're kind of like on the edge of being millennials. We're not really millennials, I guess. We're kind of like, we didn't have a cell phone growing up. We didn't have internet. I had internet when I was like 14 for the first time. And so I'm used to have pencil and pen and paper and do stuff on paper, it's really good for me. So this is my first thing that I do when I'm feeling that I'm cracking down. What about you?
Yeah, I was told I could not have a cell phone until I was driving a car, because that was the only time I needed it, is to call home.
That's
and now
true.
I see kids that are like in 3rd grade and they're playing Minecraft on their phones. So,
so good, so healthy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm bad about that. I wake up in the morning and I roll over and I grab my phone. I'm like, all right, what emails do I have? What notifications do I have?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that, I mean, you're correct. I mean, it should be more about waking up and doing things more physical, whether it's writing a journal or working out or just sitting outside. I mean,
oh yeah, fresh air.
Yeah, so for me, something that I'm trying to get back into, and I haven't done in a long time, is mountain biking.
Cool.
Do a lot in college and even after college, but the last several years, I think I was kind of discouraged in San Antonio because it's very flat, it's very hot. But now I'm in Atlanta. There's a paved biking path like right behind our apartment, so
nice.
There's no excuse. So this weekend I did finally get my bike out of storage. I'm gonna take it down and work on it this weekend if I can, and try to get back into, because I feel like, at least for me, I need to do something physical.
Oh yes.
I'm sitting in a chair all day just staring at a computer. It's I worked out for the first time on, I think it was Thursday night, and it was so painful. It was horrible. I was, I'm so out of shape, and
we're so old.
But as painful as it was, it did feel good too to do something other than just. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to try to be more physical. That's kind of my goal this year, is to do something more physical, whether it's biking, working out, just going on a long walk, just to get away from the computer. There's always going to be time to sit down and code. I need to, I'm still young. I need to try to make sure I'm as healthy as I can before I get to the point where I can't do those things anymore.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, one of the most common advice for like people that work, like sit on a desk or like even like in front of a computer, is just like find an exercise, find a physical activity, something that you enjoy doing, and doesn't have to be competitive. Like, my main issue is that throughout my whole life, I always started doing physical activities and then turned into a competition because I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be on top. So, and also like I started doing physical activity because I was feeling stressed. I was feeling like not happy. And the first couple of months, like, oh, this is great. I'm enjoying it. I'm like not thinking about work. And then after 2-3 months, 4 months, I was getting good at that physical activity. It was like soccer or basketball, or then I started doing kung fu and I was getting really good. And it's like, okay, now I'm gonna get my black belt certification in less than 3 years. So I'm gonna just like hammer down on kung fu and just practice 5 times per week every night. And then I burn out myself also on a physical activity.
Right.
It's just terrible. So it's just chill. Like, I should just say, this is my personal issue. I cannot do something without being hyper competitive. Also at work right now, we over summer we created this softball team which participate in this small beer league. That means that during the game we're allowed to drink beer, which is super chill and super relaxed. Guess who's the only person who doesn't drink beer?
I'm guessing that's you.
Yes. I'm the one shouting at the edge of the field like, get that ball, run, second base, come on, we can do it. Everyone is like so chill. They're making a barbecue. The other team has kids and dogs. They're playing while they have the game. And I'm so intense and they hate
the World
me.
Series for you, I mean.
What's up?
This is the World Series for you,
Oh
right?
yeah, this is like major league. I'm like, you
Yeah.
kidding? Like my scholar tuition depends on this or stuff. I don't know. I can't relax in like I start doing something for fun and then it turns into a competition every time.
Right.
It's terrible. Okay, so another thing is that it's all related to this thing of unwinding and disconnect thing, but also like just using your brain without being in front of the device is just reassessing your goals. And most of the time I notice, and like writing on a notebook helps me a lot because I have to actively think of all the things I'm doing and they cause me stress and it cause me to get into the burnout. And I notice that sometimes the usual rule of the 20 and 80, the rule of 20 and 80 basically is that the 20% of the things that you have to do are like they will cover the rest of the 80% of the things that you have to do. So by doing just basically, if you have 10 things, you just do 2 things, and with those 2 things accomplished, you will cover pretty much all the rest of the 8 things that you have to do and all the accomplishment that you will gain from the other 8 things. So it's always good to make a list of all the things that you're doing and trying to actually understand what are the really important things that will cover for my happiness and will cover for my life and all the things. So that's also why I'm doing less videos, but I'm trying to be like trying to make better videos. Before it was just a matter of amount. I'm trying to do as many videos as possible, and even if it's 10 p.m. and super tight, I have to record a video, and that was causing me so much stress. And then like by doing that exercise, I realized, okay, why I'm doing YouTube videos. Is like being a YouTuber my career goal? No, it's not. I don't want to just I want to get like 1 million subscribers in a year. No, that's not my goal. I'm just enjoying doing videos because I like to teach and I like to share my knowledge. But if I don't publish a video, nothing bad happens. Like I'm not gonna lose my job, or I'm not gonna lose my YouTube channel, or I'm gonna lose all my audience. Nothing bad actually happen. So
But internally, you're thinking,
Yeah.
I haven't published something this week.
Yes, yeah, that's
People are gonna hate me, you know.
yeah, that's your I don't know, it's like the devil inside you. It's like this little voice that says, oh no, you didn't publish a video now, or your audience is going away, and when you publish the next video, it's gonna be too late. You lost your window, you lost your spot.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just fake.
I've definitely felt that. You know, it's even when I started out, I had, you know, the first 5 subscribers. I was like, these 5 people are gonna hate me because I haven't published this week. You know?
Yes.
And it's like you hold yourself to it, and you know, and I guess, you know, what's the saying, that you are your worst critic.
Oh,
your own worst critic.
Yep.
You know, it's like even when I did the redesign of my website, after I did the whole time lapse and I put the video out there and I started looking at my website, I was like, I don't like it anymore. You know?
Oh yes. Never satisfied about your own things. Yeah, that's normal. Yes, unfortunately. But like being critic about your own work is good as far as it doesn't affect your overall happiness. That's where we go wrong. We start thinking, oh, you're not good. It's like, no, it's okay not liking your own things, but you don't have to negatively affect your own self-esteem, which we all do.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're okay with segueing into imposter syndrome right now, but that kind of goes right into it.
That's a good segue, huh?
You know, I think that I've had imposter syndrome with every time I've changed jobs, or you know, I think this is something I've seen a lot. I follow the web development subreddit, and I mean, every week there's somebody on there saying, I've interviewed a job and they've offered me the job. I'm starting Monday, and I feel like I've completely, you know, I'm fake. I'm not good enough for this job. I'm gonna be terrible at it.
Yes.
I've seen this so many times, and I felt the same way. I've felt the same way with every job I've gotten. this last job I started a year ago, and it was my first position as a senior developer.
Mm-hmm.
And they offered me the job, and I was like, I'm not a senior developer. I'm not good enough for that. Like, I'm going to be terrible. And, you know, for definitely for the juniors, especially when you're starting out and you think that your first day, they're going to give you some software or give you some architecture and be like, go build it.
Yeah.
And it has to be perfect.
Yeah.
And that's not the case at all. You know, they hired you because they picked you. They thought you were the best of the pool. And they know that it's going to take time to get used to the project. A lot of times when you join a company, they've been working on this product for 3, 4, 5 years. There's, you know, hundreds of thousands of lines of code. They're not going to expect you to walk in on day one and just start fixing bugs and rolling out new features.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, and even knowing this, I've started new jobs feeling this way. It's to me, I think it's a sign that are really critical of yourself, and you want to do the best that you can.
Yes. Yeah, I totally understand, and I totally agree with you. It's funny. There was something related to a tweet that I read, and I cannot remember. I cannot even find it. It was like one of the most like funny tweet I've ever read. Is that this guy says, okay, a new developer starts at the first day of this new job, talks with his boss, and says, hey, we're gonna continue that polymorphic relationship exercise that we were doing during the interview. And the boss said, haha, no, lol, go fix this HTML button. That's like, and that's actually true. Like most of the times, you haze the interview and also the technical interview, and then you start doubting yourself, like, is this the level that I can expect, that I have to expect in this company? And I don't know if I'm qualified and blah, blah, blah. But first, they're not going to throw you under the bus and not going to just give you a massive piece of software and just, okay, now you have to build that super complicated thing that you said you were capable of building. There's always a buffer of time where they know that you need to get acquainted and used to the new team and your new role, and then the software. You cannot be just straight out of the bat, just like start coding. They don't even trust you, and it's just like, yeah, this is full access to our production server, do whatever you want. It's no. If they do that, that means that the company doesn't know anything. It's just like, it's really bad behavior, it's bad attitude in terms of hiring new people. But yeah, the imposter syndrome, everyone has it. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a junior, intermediate, a senior, a lead. I still have it. Like, it's been 2 years now and I'm this company. Sometimes I talk with my junior developer and we're like dealing with a problem, and he offers a solution which is pretty brilliant, and I start doubting about myself, like, why I didn't think about that solution. Oh my God, am I really good at this role? Did I actually? And it's been 2 years, and I had a promotion in these 2 years, so everyone else around me thinks I'm good for that position except me, even after 2 years, which is stupid. But our brain thinks like that. It's always self-doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I was just told the other day that we're possibly going to be hiring a mid-level developer. And I was immediately like, oh, like, what if they realize, like, I'm an idiot? Like,
yeah, me
and
too.
They're gonna take my
I'm
job,
scared.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, it happens all the time. It's, I don't know, it's a weird feeling. But
I don't know, it's like recently because of this, and I have also an extra layer of doubts, an extra layer of self-doubt and imposter syndrome because of my language skills. I, like, being Italian, I moved here 4 years ago, and my English, it's okay, but from a technical point of view, I really miss some words because I learned programming in Italian. So sometimes when we're talking about technical things, I literally say things wrong. Like, I call a thing in another way. Like, I don't use the real technical word, or I don't know. Just I do random English mistakes, and that makes me feel really behind compared to my coworkers. And it's an extra thing. So now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to listen to podcasts or read books that are really technical and they just use technical terms. And the problem is that I feel more and more stupid because I read or I hear these things like, I have no idea what they're talking about. Oh, this is so terrible. And then I see the code examples. Oh, I know this. I know how to do this. I just don't know how to describe it, but I know how to do this. But still, it remains in my brain because you don't know the exact technical word to call that thing. You're stupid. You're not good. I'm like, damn it. It's just a spiral. We'll never get over it.
No, I mean, I work with a lot of people that don't speak English as their first language, and I don't. When I hear somebody misspeak because they use the wrong word for something, I don't immediately think like this person's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
No one does. It's just me, just the person itself.
Yeah. Right. You know, I'm sure that it's, you know, for the person misspeaking, it you know, like for instance, it does, you're thinking to yourself like, oh, I sound like an idiot or whatever.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't see it that way. You know, I think that, you know, I've been given technical interviews where they've asked me basically just vocabulary words, and I'm like, I don't know what that is, but if you showed me in code, I could tell you what it's doing. You know, so I wouldn't feel bad about it, you know.
Yeah, no, that's thank you. Thanks for reassuring me. I was like, it's not gonna happen. So do you think you will ever overcome imposter syndrome, or it's part of your life now and that's it?
I think it's just part of my life. You know, because you know, I've been thinking about, you know, what's my next step. I'm a senior developer. You know, next steps like architecture, or I don't want to do it, but it would be management. So there's always something else out there that I'm gonna feel that I'm not qualified for.
Yeah.
Or even like when I was saying we're gonna hire a mid-level developer. What if that mid-level comes in and they know so much about, you know, we're looking at doing some stuff for iPads, and we're at the very early stages thinking about if we're gonna do like a progressive web app or how we're gonna manage it. But what if we hire somebody and they're just like an iOS expert, but they're a mid-level developer, and they're gonna look up to me and I'm a higher rank than them? You know, I'm gonna be constantly thinking about that. So I don't think I'll ever get over it. I'm always gonna have it.
Yeah, it's true.
What about you?
Yeah, me too. Like 100%. It's funny. That happens almost daily at my work, especially because of the role that I have. Like I also do design, and I kind of like manage the server. I do DevOps and all this kind of stuff. So I'm like a man of many hats. I'm still feel like I'm always average in everything. I will never be the best at one thing, or like really good in one specific field, or what really good in one specific, I don't know, just like back-end development or just front-end or just UX interaction. I will be always average on pretty much everything, and I always doubt about myself. It's absurd. Even if then practically the thing that happens is always my solution is kind of like the better solution in terms of scalability, and I always suggest something that probably the other developer doesn't agree with, and then it turns out that my approach was the most scalable one and the most easier to implement. So I have daily confirmation of the thing that I'm good at what I'm doing, but still I still doubt about myself every single day. And it's, I think, also one of the worst enemy of the imposter syndrome, or like every developer, are meetup groups. I have something against meetup groups, which is, that's why I want to open a meetup group that is not a meetup group. Is that, I don't know if it happened to you, but every time I get into a meetup group, I always feel like an outsider. Like, these guys are too smart. I have no idea what they're talking about. And after spending a little bit of time with the people inside, I realized that also they have no idea what they're talking about. But because everyone has imposter syndrome, everyone tries to use these big words, and everyone tries to do every presentation has to be some like mind-blowing, technically challenged presentation that no one ever heard of, something like new that you can show off, because everyone is trying to like prove that they're good.
Yeah.
And then the audience doesn't understand shit. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know what this is. So yeah, meetup groups are the worst for your self-esteem.
Yeah, I've had the same thing from meetups groups, but I've also had the opposite. I used to go to a group fairly often, and I was always like, God, these guys are all way ahead of me. You know,
Hmm.
people ask these super hard questions. I don't know what they're talking about. And then I stopped going for a long time. And then I went back like 2 years later, and this group that used to be like 60 or 70 developers, I showed up and it's like 10 of them in a room. That's
Ooh.
it. Like, I don't know what happened to this group. And there were two talks. I don't remember one of them, but the second one was a guy. The reason why I went was he was going to be talking about Docker.
Mm.
I never used Docker.
Mhm.
He was talking about scaling it and all this stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. Like the abstract looked cool. I'm going to go see it. And it was basically him up there for 20 minutes just installing this stuff on a server. And there was like no coding, there was no explanation as to what he was doing. And most of the time it was just waiting for things to just download and install on a Linux server.
Mm.
And so I just sat there like, what am I even doing here, you know? So I don't know. It's just I think you're right. People are trying to prove themselves, and they are like, I've got this awesome idea I have to show everybody, and then I'm gonna be famous, and people are gonna invite me to 12 conferences this
Yeah.
year, and um, so
Yeah, it's
no,
I don't know why I don't want to say that it's a competitive environment, the one that we are, but I think it is. But
it is, yeah.
it really depends on the people, because I've been lucky enough to work with super cool developers that were like way smarter than me, but they never put it in front of you. They never just like
Mhm.
act cocky or act like, oh,
Right,
I'm better than you, so I don't have to talk to you. But the problem is that the majority of the developers are like that. Because they feel threatened. It's not like, then there's also the general dick that is just like a bad person that wants to be the best and it doesn't care about anyone else. But
right,
majority of the developers, that they're kind of like arrogant and they try to step out and just show off, is that because they have a massive self-doubt, so they have to prove themselves that they're better than you, they're smarter than you.
Mhm.
They have to put themselves on a pedestal, so it's harder for you to prove them wrong, or it's harder for you to make them feel they're not good enough. And I don't really like this testosterone type of level of
right,
working together, but we're actually competing. And it's something that I'm experiencing with my junior, that right now it's turning into like a mid-level developer at my company. He always has this necessity, this need of proving himself that his ideas are better, and always questions every single decision because he thinks that his solution is better. And sometimes he does that, most of the time does that just because he just like wants to write down and show you that he's good, that he knows what he's talking about, even if the
right,
conversation then goes back immediately to the first solution that it was the perfect one. He needs to prove himself. He needs to have that technical challenging conversation to show off, because he feels probably threatened and he feels like he has to prove himself, and everyone does it. But we should be more honest with each other. Like, I'm the first one saying, even when I'm talking with the junior developers, like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you explain me what it is? When we were rebuilding the new version, we first started using Vue.js and Vue Axios and Vuex Store to store the states and all this stuff. He started using getters, and I didn't know how getters worked in Vuex Store. So I read the documentation and I didn't understand, like, what's the point of a getter specifically in the store of Vuex. So I asked him, like, why use a getter? Just explain to me, like, teach me how to use a getter. And it
right,
doesn't matter, he has 4 years of experience and I have 15 years of experience in coding. I didn't know something, I'm totally cool and say, I don't know this thing.
yeah,
But then I also have the opposite, where that happens with, like, out of the blue, I start feeling, oh, I'm not good. Even if I have this moment where I'm totally cool in saying, yeah, no, I don't know this, can you explain it? It depends mostly on the attitude of the other person affects me, and I start fearing that he's gonna find out that I don't know. So Have you ever experienced something like that, that your behavior changes based on whoever you're talking to?
Possibly. The last 4 years I've worked on very small teams where I've been the most junior of all the developers working. So I haven't really worked with developers that are more junior than I am. So I haven't dealt with that. I find that at least on the internet, when you talk to people that are not in your organization, because I feel like sometimes in the organization, everybody's trying to prove themselves to manager because they want the promotion, they want the raise or something. Internet, you put out an issue like on Twitter or on Stack Overflow, and people are just jumping to just help you. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start this YouTube channel, is because I wanted to start engaging with the community. I had somebody just the other day on one of my Tailwind WordPress series who was asking me questions like, this isn't working for me, I've got this problem. And so we kind of went back and forth, and I was able to help him solve it. And I really enjoyed doing that.
Nice.
And that's why I do want to have a junior or mid-level developer under me, because I do kind of like the whole mentoring idea of being, I'm a senior developer, I'm going to help you learn. And at the time, I would like to learn from you, but I can kind of see how that's kind of a weird, going to somebody who has less experience to you and be like, explain to me why this is, because
it's a weird dynamic, right?
Yeah. So I can kind of see why you would feel that way, and I have not experienced that. And I'm hoping that we are able to hire some lower level developers soon, and maybe I'll experience that myself. But I do kind of like the idea of just development as a whole in the world. We help each other, and you see a lot of things on the news of this country and that country, and everybody hates each other. But then you go online and you see people from different countries working together on a GitHub project. It's a pretty cool feeling to kind of see that happening.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just right when I was in Seattle, I actually stumbled upon Felipe Escoto. He's a developer for Elementary OS. He's built like Spice Up, Notes Up, all those little. He's like a 21 years old kid from Mexico, and he just got an internship at Microsoft. So he moved to Seattle. Coincidentally, the same week I was down there. So I met him, and it was amazing. It didn't matter. We had like 12 years of difference, but it was like so cool to meet him and talk with him and talk about Elementary and Linux and coding. It was just like fantastic, and that's what it should be. Overall, like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter really your skill level, because in a lot of companies, I've been the one to not get fired because I was always the one, even if I was less experienced compared to someone else that got fired, I was the one with a positive attitude, always forward thinking, always saying, yes, this is difficult, but we can do it. We need time, and I would love to try it. Like I was never aggressive. I was never like passive aggressive, especially. A lot of developers are passive aggressive, which is like the worst thing ever. So it's mostly about attitude. It's fine to have imposter syndrome because you will never get rid of it. Like everyone has it, even like probably even, I don't know, Bill Gates has imposter syndrome. The thing is that you have to be human, and you have to be kind, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with saying, yeah, I don't know this thing. I'm not sure if I'm good enough, but I'm willing to try, and I'm willing to do it. It's just not, don't waste opportunities just because you think you're not good enough. That's the worst thing that you could do.
Yeah, there's a saying, you miss every shot you don't fire.
Exactly.
You miss every shot you don't take. So yeah, I mean, even if you're doubting yourself, if somebody's giving you an offer letter and you don't think you're good enough for it, you definitely are.
That is true. Okay, transitioning to basically almost the end of the episode. I have personally like a book recommendation, and then we have a bunch of questions from our wonderful, wonderful audience. So my book recommendation for this week, it's something that it was recommended in the Syntax FM podcast by Wes Boss and Scott Tolinsky. And it's a book about productivity, which I hate, because books about productivity, all the books that I read about productivity are the worst, because they're all about you have to be happy. You have to find something that makes you feel happy. You have to repeat to yourself, you're great, you're a great person, you're gonna be successful. All these like stupid holistic things that are not practical. Instead, this book is called Eat That Frog, and the subtitle is 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating and Get More Done in Less Time, which is true. I bought the book, I read it. It's like a super small book. It's like not even 100 pages less, and it just gets right to the point. It doesn't waste time in telling you useless things. It's just like list all the 21 actions that you can start doing from today or tomorrow to just stop procrastinating and activate and be more productive in your life. And it's great, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm rereading it and taking notes for how great it was, which is that never happened to me with a book. So I really highly recommend this book. Have you ever heard about it, read it?
No, I haven't, but I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, check it. It's I also bought the audio version, which it's super helpful when I walk my dog. I just like listen to it, a little chapter. It's really helpful. And one of the first thing that the suggestion of this, the whole concept of this book, it's called Eat That Frog, because there's all these there was this old saying that if every day when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you do is eat a frog, that's probably the worst thing that could happen to you in that day. So always put as first thing in your day the most annoying and most difficult thing to do. Don't put in your list of tasks the least difficult or the easiest task, or the things that, oh, I can take care of this super quickly and then I'm gonna jump to the most annoying thing, or like this is more complicated so I'm gonna put it at the last task for the day. Always do the most difficult task or the most challenging task as first one, and your brain is gonna adapt to that situation, and you're gonna get used to tackling important and heavy things first thing in the morning. And this is just one of the 21 different advices, but it worked. Like really worked for me. Like I've been in the past 3-4 weeks, I've been way more productive at work. I've been able to accomplish way more tasks, and sometimes last week I realized I finished all the tasks that I had for the day like at 3 p.m. I'm like, whoa, that's so early. I have like 2 extra hours which I can spend outside and do whatever I want.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's interesting. Yeah, I'll check it out, and that's been good advice. I usually, do procrastinate on the things I don't want to do, and
yes, we all do. Okay, so jumping right on questions from our audience. This question is for you. The first one is related to Laravel, and the user, I'm gonna butcher his name. I think it's a nickname. I don't think it's a real name, but could be. But the name is Wushudepesa. I guess so. I don't know. Whatever. Sorry for butchering your name. The first question is it worth to learn Laravel? Because everything that Laravel can do, I can do it in WordPress plus plugins. Even if it's a user-based website, I still feel that it's easier for me to create WordPress plugins. Is there something I'm missing? So basically, when should I use and should I choose Laravel?
Yeah, this is a great question, and I've seen a lot of people on your live videos ask this, like, why not just use Laravel instead of WordPress? Laravel and WordPress are just two different tools that can do different or the same things. If you wanted to write a blog for somebody, you could certainly do it in Laravel, but WordPress has it right out of the box. As for anything you want to do that you could build with WordPress plus a plugin, maybe there's not a plugin for this exact thing a client wants. Maybe there is, but there could be some performance issues. Yes. Or creating your own plugin, you are kind of tied into the WordPress ecosystem. You're tied into like the WordPress database and all that stuff. I feel like with a very custom app that somebody wants a very particular thing, Laravel may be the best tool for that job. WordPress definitely can be used in a lot of different situations. There's a lot of plugins that can do a lot of pretty amazing things, and that may be the best situation for you. It depends on how much flexibility you want. If you want a lot of flexibility and a lot of customization, I think Laravel's the way to go. If you found something that'll work for you, then throwing a plugin on WordPress is going to be a very fast solution.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, you extend on that at all, or?
Yeah, it's I totally agree. Like a perfect answer, absolutely. The one small thing that I would like to add is also related to skill level, because definitely like WordPress is really easy to learn. Even for a junior developer, it's really easy to use, and you can do a lot of things. Laravel, it requires a little bit of more technical skills and proper knowledge of PHP object-oriented programming and some database migration, and it's a little bit more stiff to just like jump into Laravel than WordPress. But definitely if the objective of this person, of whatever user, is to be better at programming, at one point you should stop using WordPress for your project. At one point you should jump and try and test Laravel and learn Laravel. Even if then the solution is that, okay, WordPress is more suitable for that, you will have more technical knowledge that can be applied to building a WordPress plugin or building a WordPress theme and make it 10 times better than you used to before. So yeah, two completely different software. One is a CMS, the other one is a PHP framework, and you can do with both, you can pretty much do the same thing, but the process is completely different. And you have, it's just like, it's mostly dependent on the project that you have to do and how you want to do it. Yeah, as you said, sometimes you're tied to the WordPress architecture and tied to the WordPress database, which you don't have these limitations in Laravel. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, awesome. Okay, the other question is just related to WordPress. It's from Football Heroes, and he's asking, is it mandatory to create the functions.php file for each theme, sorry, still my stupid accent, for each theme that we have to build, or we can copy the functions.php file from the latest theme that WordPress releases? Is this a bad approach or good? I'd say it's right off the bat is a bad approach. So WordPress releases every time there's a new version of a new year, releases a new theme like the 2016, 2017, and so on. And all these themes, they come with this functions.php file that is the main file necessary for the WordPress theme to work. I wouldn't copy the functions.php from one of this built-in theme that it's not a starter theme. That's the difference with a WordPress theme and a starter theme. Those are two completely different things. A WordPress theme comes with heavy customization, and all the methods in the functions.php, they have a prefix related to that theme. And all the methods and the functions that are written there are specifically for like to activate specific aspect of that specific theme. So are suited mostly for just that theme. Of course, you can extract it, rewrite a bunch of functions, remove them, like remove all the methods that you don't need and just have a regular started functions.php. But it's better, in my opinion, to actually build one that it's sort of like a standalone started functions.php file, and then you can use that in every theme that you use. So it's more, it's easier to customize. You don't have to deal with all the things that were written before.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Or, even as like a composer package that you pull in and then included in your functions PHP file every time you start a new theme. If there's, certain functions that you're always using that are maybe shorthand for doing certain things, whatever it is that you want to use.
Yeah.
I would build your own starter theme or extend a starter theme, take like the AWPS or underscores, have your own functions PHP in that, and then use that to build all of your themes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, the last question that is design related, which I'm gonna direct towards you because you're kind of like stumbled upon this sort of like issue. Okay, this guy is a Katsub Shinde. Kahutsu Shinde. Yes, I guess. So hard. I develop WordPress themes for my clients every day, and I find it very difficult to come up with creative design ideas. And as a result, sometimes my designs end up being the same or looking like alike all the same. How to come up with design ideas for themes and create something original? So you said you're not a designer, Chris, but you design your own website. How did you get the inspiration, and how did you decide, okay, I'm going to design it this way, and what's your process?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm a terrible designer. I started programming in high school on like calculators and stuff, and it's been kind of like the afterthought for my projects, which is why a lot of times I've used Bootstrap or Bulma or something. Because it's like, oh, it looks decent and I can put it together fast. So I've been focusing this year on trying to learn design more. I've never been to any design classes. I've never taken anything to do with like graphic design or web design or anything. So I even put out on Twitter a couple months ago, like, hey, does anybody have any resources for learning design as a developer? I'm very logical thinking. I don't know color theory. I don't know fonts. I just stuff. And I got a few good resources. One of them was, and I hope I say her name correctly, Tanya Rasia. She is a developer designer, and she's got a great blog post. I'll send it to you. You can put it in the YouTube video. And I read through that, and it made a lot of sense. I got a couple other responses of different resources, and one of the resources was to go through and find a website that you think is designed well, because I feel like I have an eye to say this website looks great or this website looks like crap. I can't make my own and be like, I know I'm going to make this look awesome. So one of the exercises I went through was to find a site that you thought was designed well, and I picked slack.com, the home page of Slack, and it was to rebuild it from scratch. And I finished like 90% of it. I should finish it. I need to get back to that. Yeah. I think I just have the footer left to go, and it was to get you to pay attention to certain little things, like what fonts they're using, how much padding they're using. And you start to notice these little things, like how much line space is in the little subheaders of the paragraphs, or how much spacing is there next to icons and how big the icons are. So I'm starting to go through that myself. As to come up with creative designs, for me, I steal everything.
Oh, yes.
I go out there and I just, there's websites like the WWW Awards, where they have these inspirational websites, and I just look around and I see elements that I like, or I see things that look good together, and I just steal them. The web is a free open place, so there's no one that's going to come and arrest you for stealing that font and color combination. So,
oh yes, 100%.
Yeah, so for me, I'm not a very creative person, and so to me, I go out and I find things I like and I try to mimic them.
Yeah, 100% agree. That's pretty much what everyone is doing and what everyone does, and it's totally fine. Like, it's not, I wouldn't say stealing, but it's just like finding inspiration, because you can, like, it's, especially if you're not used to creative process and you're not used to just like imagining something, how would you like to be, and how you're envisioning a website that doesn't have any form yet. It's important to stimulate your brain with some visual cues. So going around and checking award-winning websites or something really cool, something that you feel like, oh, this is good, this looks amazing, it's easy to navigate, I like this type of design, it gives you a hint of something that you could do. And it's totally okay to get a fully fledged design, a website is already there, and try to repurpose it with whatever you need to do. The things that I do, I like to go on Theme Forest, especially if I have to build a WordPress website. I go on Theme Forest and I search for the specific category that I need to build the website through. So if I have to build a magazine online or a blog or a photography website for personal portfolio, I check those collections to collect idea. And sometimes it's almost impossible to find the perfect design. Oh, I just wanted something like exactly like this one. But most of the time you find, oh, this header section is really well done. I want to implement this. Or how the blog posts are displayed. This is great. I like the flow of this page. Or the menu. Oh, this is a new interesting way of putting the menu. And you can totally do a patchwork in your design software. Just like do little screenshots, create a patchwork, just to give you some inspiration on what you want to do. And because this guy is a designer, he's designing this theme, the main thing that you should do in every project is trying to do something slightly different of what you did before. It's fine to have the same exact structure for 20 different websites. Like file structure or like the structure of a design page is kind of like hard to create something completely groundbreaking or mind-blowing, because you have to respect the grid, you have some specific things that they need to work in responsive, you have a limited real estate for the page where you have to fit the content. So the main thing is that start with simple blocks and start with a well-known structure that makes you feel comfortable because you already built it, so that's easy, and then try to change something and try to add something new to a design that otherwise would be the usual boring design. For example, you have the usual header area that it's a block, an image, and then you have the introduction with the H tag and then the paragraph, and then below you have 3 boxes with the 3 main things, then below you have an about section and then the footer. Just a regular page structure, and you can find a million of different pages exactly like that. But what if the menu, instead of being a regular top bar menu, it's hidden behind an animated button with an SVG, and when you click it, it opens this slider that takes over half of the page and the rest of the page blurs out. That's just one addition that you can try, because probably you saw an animation like that does this. So you can introduce this extra element that it's kind of particular to our otherwise boring, quote unquote, boring design. But the thing is that it's totally fine to have websites that they look alike, that they're similar. They're your website. You have a specific taste, a specific style, and it's normal. It's like asking to Picasso to have every single painting should be completely different with each other. No, Picasso has his own style and his own type of thing that, of course, changes throughout the years. But if an artist paints the same or like different paintings in a week, all those different paintings will look alike because it's the style. And it's totally fine. It's not that every website has to look unique on its own. That's not how it happens and not what happens. So that's it. I hope it's a satisfying answer.
Well, for me, that's good advice. I like that.
Oh, nice. That's good. Awesome. So you're gonna redo your design?
Yeah, I'm gonna completely do it again.
Oh, damn it! No.
I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't know. I designed it, and then I don't know. I feel like it looked good in the mock-ups, and then once I got it on the web, it didn't feel as good. So
yeah, that's the worst.
I don't know. I may not completely redesign it. I might just tweak it some, but
which is fine. Yeah, definitely. I always do that too. Like the design softwares, unfortunately, they don't simulate properly, especially like text rendering. It's completely different online and based on different browsers. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
And also colors. Did you see the tweet that I retweeted recently of that guy opening the Airbnb website in 4 different browsers on the same phone?
Yeah.
And the pink background was shifting between like red and bright pink depending on the browser. So Doesn't matter what you design, your stuff will be changed based on the browser because consistency is impossible.
Yep, the browser, the monitor, everything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we are at the end of this fantastic episode. I had so much fun, and I hope we gave out some good advice to fight burnout and stay productive and stay motivated, I guess.
I hope so.
Yeah. When you think it's gonna happen, your next burnout, if you're not experiencing it right now?
I'm recovering from one right now. I think I'm coming out of it.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping to get more physical, get more into biking, and hopefully I'll be able to push out of it before it really becomes a burnout.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. Okay, so as usual, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and on this very own YouTube channel. And this podcast episode will be available on iTunes, and it's just a public RSS feed, so on all the other apps that you can listen to podcasts with. Where we can find you, Chris?
You can find me also on Twitter and YouTube and my website, chrisperko.net. Reach out for anything. If you have any other videos you guys have interest in that I might be able to build, then let me know.
Awesome. Okay, thanks you so much, guys, for watching. Thanks, Chris and Chris, for participating to this lovely episode, and we talk to you in the next one. As usual, happy coding, happy designing, and be happy in general.
Just be happy. Yeah. Have a good one.
Bye.